What's up, everybody? My name is Victor, and welcome to my YouTube page, which is all about helping people navigate their ascension process. And this video is going to be all about the July of 2016 Ascension Energy Forecast or update. This is going to be kind of an interesting month. On one, in a lot of ways, most of my forecasts are, in a sense, the same because every month as it approaches and comes to be is just another expansive version of the previous month, an acceleration in our overall ascension energy upgrades we're kind of going through. And it's happening kind of in an exponential, progressive, geometrical sort of way. So it's always getting more and more and more and more and more of something. More intense, more blissful, more challenging, depending on where you are in your little individual soul journey. But this month, I finally feel like we're breaking into something a little bit new and kind of exciting that I'm kind of anxious to talk about. So we're finally, I feel like, pressing into something new. We finally, a lot of us anyway, have let go of a sufficient amount of our own ego, baggage, our dense energies, you could say, and we're finally beginning to get these glimpses of new awarenesses of who we are, who we actually are. This might come in the form of dreams, memories of yourself, perhaps in a simultaneous or past life where you're the same me, or you're who you are, but you have a totally different life. All your friends and family and people you know are kind of in your life, many of them, but in different arrangements. Maybe you're the father of your own mother, whatever. You can kind of, we all go into lives and we like to swap roles and change it up a little bit. You might start to remember this sort of stuff. Many of you might be getting dreams or memories or experiences with extraterrestrials now. We're finally getting to a point where a lot of us are beginning to remember our extraterrestrial ties. And this oftentimes happens in a very gradual process. It's not that you just go from being completely unaware that you have any sort of tie with an alien civilization at all, and then all of a sudden you're like on their ship talking to your buddies. It's going to come in just flashes, little glimpses, little images, little messages, little synchronicities. Many of you you'll have dreams where you see a UFO, or you actually get to communicate with an alien. Many of you, it'll be even more subtle than that. Maybe you're in your dream thinking about aliens and talking about aliens, and you feel kind of a presence of one, but you don't see it. It can happen in a lot of different ways. My cat, sorry. So this is very cool and exciting. You might find that some of these other lives you now can remember that you've had, you were a lot different. And in being able to tap in to the memories of these other lives, you get to realize just how fear-based and restrictive this world is. For example, I had a dream recently, last night in fact, about myself it was totally like a parallel reality or a past life, however you want to phrase it. It's a matter of perspective, but it was a different lifetime of mine that I'm connected to. And I had my same core people in my life, like my sister, my mother, and my wife. But me and my wife had a very open relationship sexually, you could say. It was very wild. You could say a lot of different partners and whatnot coming and going. But we don't live like that at all now. But in my dream, it seemed so normal. It was a very normal way of it was just kind of how things were. Neither of us got jealous or upset or anything. It was just how it was. And yet in our world, we're kind of living in a very coming out of the Victorian age, very puritanical mindset a lot of us have ingrained in us. So we think sexuality and aliens, all this is so taboo and brings up so much fear and guilt. But as you can remember and tap into these other lives and experience yourself in these other situations where you have a ease about it, you can kind of bring that in because that's part of you as well. And it kind of helps break down these barriers that we've allowed to be constructed around us of fear and guilt and shame and complete ignorance and unawareness is what most people live in here on the planet Earth, and us too. But as you remember and you tap in, you get to kind of not break out of this shell. It just the shell becomes kind of gone and weakened because you realize that it doesn't make any sense anymore. As you expand into more of who you are, a lot of the beliefs that you held within previously make no sense. It's an easy thing to let them go. They just kind of shift on their own. And so we're finally expanding. We're finally embracing the new. Not so much, and as we embrace the new, here's another thing that comes up. As we embrace the new, we end up having to still deal with our like fevered ego that just flares up as we do something new. So we might have found a little bit of an inclination of our purpose or a direction we want to go, and we're going. And we're having these new insights. And as we go, we're kind of bumping into our resistance that naturally flares up anytime you expand outside your comfort zone. So this is okay. Here's a mistake I made that I know a lot of you guys might be suspecting. A lot of times as we bump into our ego resistance, it comes in the form of what seems like guidance, like messages from like our guides or whatever, saying, oh no, don't go there, don't do this, this is not right for you, this is not your path, this is not your mission, you better be doing this. That's all you. Your guides would never say that to you. And especially you're going to find a little bit of a dichotomy with them, because a lot of times you're going to be getting guidance to say don't do this thing, and this thing is what you kind of really like to do. You want to do it. And you sometimes can be a little disappointed and wow, I was really hoping to pursue this thing, but I guess I can't. I guess I have something else waiting for me. No, that's all you. That's all your own ego drama flaring up. And it's that clever and crafty that it comes forth. It's learned to come forth in the form of guidance from your guides. No, it's not. And as long as you keep listening to all these external influences, which are just projections of your own self, you're just gonna be stuck. And you're not gonna like where you are. You're gonna be waiting for something better to come along. You're gonna avoid these paths that you really wanna take because you think there's something better lurking around the corner about to pop in. And it's gonna feel that way. You're gonna feel like, okay, if you listen to your guidance, don't go forward in the direction you really wanna go. Just stay put, because life is magical. We're ascending, and great things are going to come into your lap. You just wait. And you're going to wait. And you're going to wait and wait. And nothing's going to come. And you're going to stress out. You're going to think it's a test of your faith. You're going to think, wow, this is really a test of my faith. You'll think. No, you're going to weight yourself into financial debt, into relationship ruin, into misery. I promise you. The way out of all of this, regardless of where you stand in the awakening process, is to go forth in the direction you want to go. Start taking simple, pragmatic steps to become the person you want to be. Expect, as you do this, things will flare up. Things will come and try to knock you off your path. That's all you. As you do this, you're becoming more confronted, more aware with all the different little trepidation energies in yourself that normally would have kept you still. But you're not going to do that. You're going to keep going forward, expecting that, ignoring that, perhaps at times inquiring into the source of it so you can kind of let it go if it happens to correlate with a big issue that you might have. But in general, you have to. And I just told this to a client I was talking to. It was very relevant to her, and it's really very relevant to you. You have to kind of like accept your natural human flightiness. We have this flightiness, this immaturity about us where we're so easily distracted, so easily taken off our path by this or that emotion or this thought, this notion, this message. No. Just write down who you want to be, what you want to do, and do it. Regardless of how you feel on that day, of what synchronicities pop into your life telling you it might not be the best idea, maybe you should question this. No. This is the shift, this is the flip I talk about in all my videos. A lot of times your guidance you're going to find to be kind of failing you because there doesn't need to be a need for your guidance. You don't need other things to tell you what to do. You have always known what to do, and you just question yourself so much that you've created the illusion that you need guidance from your higher self. But guess what, Jack? You are your higher self. It's time to start acting like it. And as you do, your old self is going to roar very loudly. It's going to really not want you to do anything. Your old self likes to keep you in a short-term pleasure, regardless of the consequences, pursuing nothing long-term. It doesn't want you to experience any strain or struggle whatsoever to preserve its little illusion of safety. And that's how people normally live their lives. But you have come here to show an alternative way of living, to show that that is a load of crap, to show that that is not a life. That is a life that people on their deathbed will regret immensely. They will know in those moments that they have wasted their entire life not being who they've always wanted to be. You are the daring, can't think of a word here. You're the daring forerunners, trailblazers that are so courageous, so bold, so strong, so insistent on being your real self that you are going to produce a life that is a reflection of one who is not afraid to be themselves. Because we are so unique and so miraculous and so bold that you're right. Being our truest, fullest self in this world is going to cause people to say, wow, I don't like that guy. Wow, Lord. You're going to bump into things and other people. And yet those people you bump into are going to envy you and just maybe emulate you. And that's your purpose. That's who you are. Your purpose is to be who you are. And this month, I suggest you go for that person. You try to find that person. Try to make it happen. Now, with all that said, lastly, you might feel a bit of impatience. All these internal changes, all these new realizations, these new dreams are going to come to you, and you're going to realize that, wow, I don't want to be here. This isn't really who I am. This house, this job, this relationship, this is not who I am. We're still on earth, guys. Still, things take time. You have to just start the process of breaking out of this life. It might take a little while. It might take more time than you wish it would take. But guess what? You're going to get there. You're going to get there. You just can't stop. You can't listen to your ego so much. Can't listen to the naysayers who, as you really transform, you're going to trigger. You're going to trigger responses out of people, friends, family. They're going to try to be crabs. It's a thing from one of my previous videos. Crabs try to tear you back down. They don't want you to change. They don't want you to be bold. They don't want to feel inferior to your uniqueness. And yet that is exactly why you're here. That is exactly what you are destined to do. So go forth. Do it. It's time to do it. It's time to do the thing. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, do the thing to get the reward or to get the something. The reward isn't just going to come. You got to do the thing. Your purpose, your passion. What's my purpose? What's my passion? Whatever you want it to be. Whatever you really want to do. If you could just pick a purpose, what would it be? What's the first thing that pops in your head? That's probably it. The reason you haven't done it is because as you think that, you also at the same time have a million different rationalizations in your mind that say why you shouldn't or couldn't or it's unrealistic to do. And yet that's exactly what's going to pull you out of this ascension madness, your purpose.